Hey everybody, back with Marvel Heroes. Got Ghost Rider here, got him to 50. So I'm going to do my Ghost Rider's build choice, and it was definitely fun. A little squishy up until about 30s, and he finally kind of comes into his own, and then he becomes not so squishy at all. Um, Graphically, I find him superior to most characters, very, very pleasing to play. And you can tell his costume is awesome with that burning skull that comes with him, and the flame effects are just outstanding. I mean, it's awesome, and that's basically the way all his abilities go out like that. They are outstanding. So if you want a very visually pleasing character to play, this is it. It's also going to be a little bit more demanding on your video card, so bear that one in mind also. So, with all that in mind, I do have a build choice. I call it Burn Baby Burn, because that's basically what you're going to be doing to everything is burning them down. And before I really get into the build choice, there are a couple of different viable options. And one very interesting one is maxing out Ride. Ride is your movement ability. My build's going to have 1 point into it. And this is it right here, but as you see, you leave that trail of flames behind you, and it does damage. And as you put points into it, that damage goes up more and more and more. If you're just looking to XP farm, Splinter farm, Unique farm, things that drop the pop-up icons, you could sit there and run around Midtown and just burn stuff down. Or if you're looking for credits, just run around 2 streets, run around 1 street and go back up the other and keep going. Nothing will disappear because you're not leaving the vicinity of the items. You're not going too far away from them to despawn, and you'll be able to pick them back up. You'll be able to see them again in the next one. And you just max out movement speed that way. Or you can do the opposite effect, which is basically try not to take any kind of movement speed. But you're going to go faster by putting speed in there and going up and down the same road, and then moving over a road and go up and down, and then move over a road, go up and down, and you can farm XP/gear that way. That's how that's going to work, and it's going to be very effective. That's a lot of damage it does. Things can't touch you because you basically you're not invisible, but you don't collide with anything. You basically go through objects, including mobs. So if you're going that fast, if you go with the speed route, you just go so fast you go right through them and they can't really shoot you. It's kind of funny. And basically any of his skills are really, really viable. Damnation basically works the same way as Punisher's Flamethrower. Condemn is just like Web Spray. Not Web Spray, is it Web Spray? Yeah, Web Spray for Spider-Man. Hell from Above is a crash down strike type ability. Flay is the shockwave thing where you slam the ground and a shock shoot out in front of you. Whirling Chain is like he just basically whirls chains around his head, so it's like Daredevil's Whirling Club. And let's see, the Hellfire is like Johnny Storm's, the Human Torch's Fireballs. And that's really it. So my build choice, Burn Baby Burn. The Chain Lash is an interesting choice. It does go faster. It does a little less damage, and it goes faster. And I'm tempted to take it because it goes a little bit faster, and we can make the hit mechanics work to our advantage with life on hits coming in, or spirit on hit coming in also. And also take advantage of the fact that it hits so far out. This is basically a ranged attack, even though it works as melee. But I find myself always in point blank range, so I'm going to go with the maximum damage and the weaken effect with Chain Thrash, because I'm always at point blank range. And I'm not going to use the shield tracker device, motion tracker device. I'm going to use Netherarium Gin and the Talisman of Kunlungs, if I can find one of those again. And we're going to take Chain Snare, because this is going to do lots of damage over time. You know, one of those fire and forget skills. And we're going to take Chains Ablaze, and this is going to be massive amounts of DPS for us. It gives us a high amount of crit rating, one of the better crit skills in the game so far. And it gives us Spirit when we hit an enemy that's affected by the Hellfire. So basically anytime that we hit something with our chain ability, anytime we hit something with a chain ability, we put Hellfire on it. And it gives us plus damage rating to the chain abilities. And about 1,000 damage rating at level 60 should be 25% damage rating, so 766 should be around 19% damage. So we're talking a lot of extra damage right here. And we're going to go with Inferno. It's going to be a double synergy because Inferno is going to be doing, right now at level 50 here, it's almost 6,000 damage a second. But also, we're going to synergize it with Inferno Will because we're going to be standing in fire. We'll get double the health regeneration effect. And of course, on death, we don't die. We regenerate to 30% maximum health, and then we get that awesome amount of health per second. So that's going to be a double tie-in right there. And that's why we're also going with Chain Thrash, because we're always at point-blank range, because we want to stand in the Inferno, because we want to get the double health regeneration going on. Even though we're going to be trying to stay at maximum health, we are going to maximize Spirit of Vengeance, because even though we're trying to stay at maximum health, and even though trash mobs, blues, and usually yellows, we are going to get that, bosses still have spike damage, even though the patch says that they are trying to get rid of that spiky damage. I don't believe them. I believe bosses are trying to spike us down, and maybe not in one-shot mechanics. Now it's 2 to 3 shot mechanics, and I definitely see that happening with a lot of different characters. So with Spirit of Vengeance, what happens here is when we get to 75% or 50% or 25% damage or health, we get more and more extra damage reduction. You know, at 75%, it's only 3.5% damage ignored with additional damage rating, but at 25%, we're now ignoring 30% of the damage incoming with 1100 damage rating. So that's a lot of extra damage with a nice chunk of damage negation. So we're going to use that. That's survival, you know, survival 101 basically in there. And that'll help us keep alive in those weird bosses that spike us. And that's it. I don't like Penance Stare at the current build, even though you can get it to about 35,000 damage, and say you hit it on a boss that's at 80% damage or life reduced, so it's at 20% life. That's 80% extra damage. So let's just say we hit for 55,000 damage. It just seems like most real bosses just kind of laugh at that damage. You know, sure, green terminal bosses, you know, at that, you know, it might take it down to about 5% life or something. So it'll do something. But to sink 20 points in there for basically saving me 1-2 seconds worth of button pushing, it's not worth it to me. I don't like it. It doesn't do the right kind of damage. This thing should be hitting for like a couple 100,000 damage. It's a single target skill. And like Emma Frost and Miss Marvel and a lot of other characters hit for the same damage, but in big AoEs. Same damage, AoE. This is single target for the same damage. It's not in the right spot. So I don't go for it. I'll put a point into it, so if you want to hit it, you can hit it and get that damage. But it's just not a lot of damage, in my opinion. You want to put points into it and go for it and think it's doing something for you, go right ahead. But I swear to God, in Midtown, I hit it on something and they just kind of laugh when I do it. I literally see them going laugh out loud. Other than that, the real thing that really burns things down is Chains Ablaze. The skill is amazing. And what we're going to help try to make it work out is because the buff duration does go up with points in there. and it's only a 15-second cooldown. We're using Dr. Doom's metal. And at higher levels, we will be able to get it to at least 20% power duration, which will get us to 12.5 seconds of a 15-second cooldown. And hopefully at level 60, we'll be able to get that to a 14 to 15 second and be able to constantly, permanently keep that buff up, which is massive damage. And that will be awesome. And then plus the cower is awesome. The damage rating is awesome. The health is awesome. Like I said, I got Netheranium Jewel, or Netheranium Jewel. The damage bonus is absolutely horrible on this, but I don't have a couple 100,000, 500,000 to re-roll it yet. Kind of a bad power prison shard for me. It should be reversed. High radius and low spirit cost, because the buff that we're keeping up Chains of Blaze is giving me tons of spirit when I hit with my chain abilities. So spirit's not going to be an issue. Yukio's Charm, perfect. Lots of health regen with melee power damage. That's awesome because, well, we're using lots of melee power with Chain Thrash. And that's it. You know, the fourth slot could be a lot of anything. For me, it's going to be a Talisman of Kunlun. We're going to be always at point blank range. Relic of Lemuria, very strong ability. On the costume, plus health. I know I got plus dodge there in number 4, but number 4 is really expensive to re-roll at the time. And when I was doing my videos, I burned 1.5 million credits re-rolling all the stats because the stats changed. So, you know, really plus hit points and plus hit points on basic skill or what I'm going for on Ghost again. And that's it. So I'll go ahead and do a terminal with the build. And basically, with Ghost Rider and every other character out there, you want plus damage, plus hit points, plus hit point regeneration. Pretty much the standard. Let's see, he's level 50. I forget what's normal here. Looks like Kingpin's normal. Oh, I need that shard too. Good. Double purpose. I need the shard. So this is Blaze in effect. It will kill stuff. Just showing you how the ride Blaze will work to kill things. But you will be off screen by the time it dies, so you either have to backtrack and go backwards. And this is at one point. This isn't even with points in there, so keep that in mind. Just how I just want to show how it works. It's not how I'm going to play. And with yellows, I just put the chain snare on. That's the second dot. Same with blues. And of course I'll pop Chains of Blaze on blues. I'll put the fire down usually first, trying to get everything close together, and then put the snare out, because the snare will stop everything from moving. I usually want everything tight. The snare flies out, and then once it hits, it does an AoE at the point of impact, and everything that it hits at the point of impact is snared. And it's not a snare, it's actually a root. So everything is rooted. I'll do it from far away so you can see it fly. See how it flew, and then it rooted everything. Everything that's rooted is also dotted. This is a pretty cool ability. I usually do it at point blank range so it doesn't miss, kind of like Wanda's Ravenous Binding, just without the life return. moves at the same speed, but because we're melee based, it's actually a lot easier. Move credits and credits. Take those. This rideability is phenomenal. Okay, where did I miss it? What did I miss? Oh, it's down there. Along with storms, thundering, maelstrom, probably one of the best farming things. So it just leaves all that fire going down. Then you find some more mobs and you go back to see what you killed. Find some more mobs, go back up. Oop. Crazy way to be able to kill. And yeah, life is that easy. Let's see, he was still a little higher level than me. Weird. Well, he's dropping higher level gear than me anyways, level 51 probably. And that's it. That's Ghost Rider. Burn, baby, burn. He just does massive amounts of damage, and as long as you're standing in the Hellfire, very, very strong character. This will return, what, 350 almost health a second just from that alone, standing in Hellfire. So if you're stacking some health return with hit points in these two slots alone, it's awesome. If you get lucky and get some of his uniques, it's awesome. I actually got cosmic motorcycles I'm not even using because of this. This is just an awesome plus rare item find plus special item find motorcycle. Hard to beat it. You know, if you stack that health return, you saw my health just wasn't going anywhere. But bosses like Curse, Blob, Loki, he does weird things. You can, and if you get like a Poison Cloud boss, you know, it gets spiky, so you need high amounts of life regeneration. But that's it. So that's Ghost Rider. Like I said, until you hit Infernal Will, very squishy. You got to be careful. Make sure you're definitely stacking health return. And then once you get Infernal Will, you know, keep up with the health return and you know, stand in the fire. It's the only game that makes you benefit from standing in the fire. So hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all later.